Knock knock. You'd ask who's there, but you don't know if Sheriff of New York would play along. When you open the door, you see him toying with the car keys he's holding in his hand. Ready to go, fledgling? You don't feel you are, but you give him a nod nonetheless. Excellent. Stick close. He leads you down to a vehicle he's parked nearby. Once again, he takes the wheel, literally and figuratively. Everything inside is just the way you remember it, down to the rearview mirror reflecting an intense stare of your guide. However, the trip itself feels notably different. Last time Kadir was driving you around, he was forcibly dragging you away from your old life. This time he's pulling you back into it. God damn, Newman, you're getting violent just thinking about him. Let me tell you how it's going to go. As I've said, I've arranged a meeting between you and your kin. It's going to take place somewhere, and you should know very well. Somewhere you know very well. I'll watch over you two from a safe distance to make sure you adhere to the rules. You should know this very well, but I'll reiterate just so you know. You can say I didn't warn you. Don't do anything that would violate the masquerade. Don't establish some sort of secret routes of contact, I will know. Don't treat it as the last time you two meet. Take this chance to wrap everything up. Here's your story. You're fine, found yourself on the crossroads, decided to radically change your life and move out of the city. The subway is unbearable, the rent is too high, they've heard it all. However, you do not appreciate being accused of a crime you haven't committed. So you're back, both to clean your name and strike fear into the hearts of its real culprit. By now, you should know how to cause fear among the living, don't you? He smirks at you. Have fun. As long as you don't leave a mess for me to clean, this should be good. The car takes a sudden turn. God damn it. Behind the pop filter I can't tell if the microphone is actually positioned right. I probably should have checked. I leave the finer details to you. Just be so kind and don't make me regret it. You can sense he is going out of his way for you, but doesn't try to force you into gratitude by stating it plainly. If you know, you know. He'll see if you were worthy of his aid. We're here. You take a look around to recognize your destination. He was right, it is a familiar place. It's the office you've wasted the best years of your life in. Newman should be up there. Apparently someone is blackmailing him with documents proving his penchant for embezzlement. The poor guy is stuck in his office and he's probably pretty shaken up. The documents don't exist, but it would be a shame if someone went there, wiped the floor with the man, found proof that he pilfered the funds and forced him to admit his crimes. He turns off the engine and relaxes comfortably in his seat. You silently leave the car and head straight for Newman's office. The elevator ride up just doesn't want to end. After what felt like 5 hours, but in reality was closer to 30 seconds, you finally reach your floor. Your ex-boss is sitting in his office just like Kadir said. And this office is still goddamn gorgeous. Damn, look at that glass. Freaking rain outside. Beautiful. He looks, how should you describe it, as if he has just googled the body language of alpha males and attempted to poorly copy the most cartoonish posture in order to intimidate the blackmailer. Out of habit, you take a deep breath as you step inside his office. I'll just give you the usual. Josephine? He immediately relaxes. It's just Josephine. His eyes say as a slight grin appears beneath them.
I forgot to ask for vacation. People were worried, you know. Not to mention, I worked to help and back. Then overworked some more. Someone had to take over your responsibilities. And guess what? Just as we started digging into your work, some unexpected financial irregularities started popping up. We'll need to work on a common story to explain those, you see.
You keep quiet and just stare him down. The poor idiot still thinks he's the predator in this room. Let's see how long it'll take for him to realize his mistake. Newman senses you're different somehow. He attempts to stare back, but fails to withstand your glare. He starts wondering what's going on and quickly arrives at a conclusion.
Wait a second, so you're the one who sent me that message? Now that's a laugh.
He starts approaching you.
Sweetheart, if I'm going down, you're going down with me. You think you'd convince anyone you never knew what was going on around here? That chance. And even if you did, you know, my friends, we'd never let you live it down.
He's right in front of you, licking his lips, pondering the best way to display his complete physical superiority. He won't give him a chance to. Scare the shit out of him. Throw him outside the building. I kinda wanna just break the window with his body. Like, I'm sorry, Kadir, but this would feel good if I did that. No, I should go with my gut. Screw that. I'm gonna go with it. You pick him up as you do with a bag of potatoes.
What?
It takes him a few seconds to understand what's happening to him. Once he does, you look outside the window and chuckle to yourself.
What made that?
There he goes, flying through the air. He reaches the glass, it breaks.
Jesus!
He's convinced he's gonna fall to his death. He doesn't see you running right behind him and catching his hand in the very last second. You pull it as hard as you can and throw him back inside the room, breaking more glass in the process. You feel a nice breeze coming in. Newman loudly crashes against desks and chairs in the office. Bloodied and shocked, he starts pitiful attempts to get back on his feet.
Fuck!
The born boardroom predator has found his bed in a place he'd least expected. You start slowly walking toward him.
Stop! I get it. I'll do it. I'll fucking do it.
With shaking hands, he scrambles towards a safe on his shelf. He opens it and takes out some documents inside.
This is what you want, right? This is what you want?
You rip out the papers from his hands and browse them. This should be enough to, as Kadir would put it, prove he's been charged for embezzlement.
I'll clean your fucking name. Tell them somebody else.
You twist your heel in his hand. He screams.
I did it. I'll tell them I did it.
You better do. Next time I'll bite into your throat. Even silence. You simply turn around and start walking away. You walk into the elevator, press the ground floor button and wave at Newman as the doors start closing. He mumbles something under his nose and winces in pain. Back to Kadir's car. Once you close the door, he instantly puts his foot on the gas pedal. Walking off the pitch with no regrets, said everything you had to say. I've wiped the floor with him and got the documents which should keep him in check. That asshole will be constantly looking behind his shoulder for the rest of his life. Kadir smiles deviously. Looks like you can take care of business, as expected. I don't need to tell you to hang on to those documents, but keep in mind you can use it for more than a security guarantee. You're always looking for more contacts among the big fish. Once you settle in, you can use what you know of Newman to convince the elders that he's better off as your ghoul. Now that's an enticing thought. You're surprised at him suggesting it. The car speeds up to cross an intersection before the light turns red. You give Kadir a good hard look. I've just been thinking, would it been better if I just killed him or fed on him? I wonder about that. Why are you not mean to me? Thank you. Good job with setting it all up. Thank you. Let's just go with thank you. It doesn't feel like, how should you call it, a very vampire thing to say, but you say it nevertheless. He's visibly taken aback, with his usually furrowed brows smoothing out for a moment. And he takes on a serious, slightly sorrowful expression. Don't suck up to me, kid. Mr. Bad Guy is still here, and without a doubt he will go back to decapitating suckers like you anytime now. The car starts slowing down. We're here. You look out the window and see your haven. Take care. I'll see you around. Just pray I don't have to see you too often. You leave the car and start walking to the haven, thinking about Kadir. Can't say you're fond of him with what welcome he gave you and all, but after tonight, you can't say you aren't either. You're gonna need some more time to understand him, that's for sure. How long has it been? Oh, it's not a day yet. Okay, good. Alright, so I'm not touching that yet. Master's voice. Kara wants to meet. Hope decides you should see her alone, with an ace up your sleeve. When you reach a cafe, you're welcomed by a familiar face of a waiter who first led you inside. You exchange looks and nod. He hides his weapon pen in the back pocket. She's been expecting you. Something happened to her car and she hasn't exactly been leaving her room ever since. He scratches his head, shrugs and gestures at you to follow him. It's the same route as before. First, beyond the locked door at the end of a room with all the computers, then into an endless grey labyrinth. Finally, you reach the door what would look like any other around here to a random bystander. Of course, by now you know that Hope's Haven lies beyond it. A waiter bids you adieu with an exaggerated bow and starts walking back to a cafe. You enter a familiar room, this time the lights inside are on. Hope is inside, walking around nervously, overseeing every screen on her side. When she spots you, she wastes no time on introductions. And the lights are not on. I'm disappointed. You know, I would have been really interested in seeing this room with lights on, and not just in the place.
Kara Montgomery, what do you know of her?
I know the name, not a lot. That's something. Let's go with not a lot. Not. Okay, but that was so it didn't matter what I said.
You could have seen her in listicles, I don't know what that is, such as Top 5 Badass Women of Tech 2018, 12 CEOs who spark innovations through empathy, or 20 entrepreneurs with mysterious ties to Jeffrey Epstein.
You don't get to voice your answer. The question was just a minor courtesy. She has a monologue to deliver and she won't allow an interruption. Okay, I get it.
20 years ago she was a failed dot-com investor. Now she's the CEO of Double Spiral, a brand management startup working at the crossroads of big data and influencer culture.
Quotation marks are audible, dripping with venom. Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't manage that.
Long story short, she spent years convincing her Camarilla contacts, as an out-of-touch old farts mad about smartphones, but Kindle can benefit from controlling the internet. Her IT goals have done a lot of research on deepfakes, AI, and machine learning. Her goal is an ability to generate thousands of believably human online accounts.
And by the way, yeah, that's actually a very scary prospect, but when you browse Reddit, I've once seen a thread which was purely bot replies, and I could not tell. And it was scary.
Basically an army of posters what could broadcast anything into mainstream discourse. Well, this took a while to get the concept, but eventually Kara got their blessing. The thing is, she claims her tech is ready to be tested, but it needs one final component to work properly, and that's why... She pauses. She proposed a truce.
What truce? What kind of truce?
The become my friend or face a violent death kind of truce. Not exactly fucking convincing if you ask me. But no matter how much I hate her guts, this is a blessing in disguise. Hear me out. She picked a public place in Manhattan, neutral ground where we can meet without the fear that the other party might do something stupid and violate the masquerade. She just wants to talk. You will go there in my place and listen to her terms. You won't accept them, of course, especially not after she's tried to kill us. You will just steal her voice and walk away.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Could you elaborate? What next? Will you trade her mermaid elf legs? I don't know who wrote this, but I want to meet a person and shake his hand.
A Disney joke? Sweet. What next? Will you hit me with a topical Harry Potter reference? I'm not trying to be obtuse here. Wait a second, let me explain my plan. You see, there is only one way to even the odds. We have to hit Kara where it hurts, and she's only got one weak point, Double Spiral headquarters. Kara's the only person there who's got access to every room. The security is something she came up with herself, voice-based, but based on a different password phrase every time. That means just recording her talk is not enough if we want to get in. That's why I started selling illicit materials to people with access to advanced deepfake audio technology. I've got it right in this room. Now all I need is a sample base, what will allow me to manufacture a bot what talks like her. To monitor data, I need to stay behind. Still, I think the plan is pretty simple. You talk to her while wearing a wire, I process the recording here to steal her voice, voila, she's wide open. Then we invade Double Spiral and destroy it from within. The evil is defeated, I become part of your crew, happy ending for everybody. How does that sound to you?
Would I be in danger? Will she even talk to me? Yeah, actually, will she even talk to me? She wanted to talk to you, why would she talk to me?
Yeah, she's too stuck up to talk to total rando, but given an opportunity to get Sophie Langley's right hand to her side, she won't let it pass her by.
I thought Gregory was her right hand.
And even if you aren't a minor celebrity in the city, I'm sure our connections would have been enough to hear you out.
Hope shakes her head and claps her hands. When she speaks up, she sounds different, more spaced out, stuttering. Oh, I can do that.
Alright, let me fix you up with the hardware.
She hands you a minuscule earpiece and starts attaching a small decorative pin to your clothes, along with some masked wiring.
It's a directional microphone. I can clean up the audio later, but keep it pointed directly at Kara as much as possible, alright?
You put on the headphone she gave you. It fits snugly deep inside your right ear.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
The hardware works flawlessly, the audio quality seems great. You give Hope an affirmative sign with your head.
Beautiful. Carrie designated meeting place as a vessel. You've heard about the place, right? It's right by the eastern end of the Lincoln Tunnel. A giant pile of staircases, basically. Impossible to miss. Manhattan's answer to Eiffel Tower, or a gaudy monument to being only ever so slightly free, depending on who you ask. I'd drive you there, but my car is still in the workshop and I don't want to risk being spotted by Kara's people, and I need to process voice data from here.
Oh yeah, I get it.
Which means I have a perfectly acceptable number of excuses for not letting myself get anywhere close to the demonic old hag.
Oh yeah, I get it. You involuntarily roll your eyes a little bit. Hope sits in front of her screens pretending not to have noticed.
So, are we getting the show on the road or what? Ready whenever you are.
Well, no sense lingering here. You get back to your street and find your car. Wrapping up this show as quickly as possible sounds like a good idea. Around 30 minutes later, you're in front of a vessel. Hope's description, a giant pile of staircases, wasn't particularly helpful. From the distance, the building looks more like a giant honeycomb, designed to swarm with tourist bees. Okay, I don't think I've seen this sprite before. That's interesting. So I'm assuming this is based on something in real life. I kinda wanna see this. At least during the day, that is. At the moment the place is closed to the general public, a few men who look vaguely threatening and out of place are making sure nobody unwanted gets in. However, you have no problems getting up the stairs. All it takes is an exchange of knowing glances with one of the guards. You are expected. A lone figure appears on your side, staring down at the streets of Manhattan. I forget what I did first, though.
You know, city people often complain about being unable to see the starry skies, but I always thought the real tragedy is how they are unable to appreciate man-made sea of lights that surround them.
Oh, you know what? I feel the same way. I always liked the night city. It looks freaking gorgeous.
You can teach people a lot of things, but you can't teach them to see, huh?
You recognize a face from Hope's phone. Finally, you meet Cara Montgomery on the flash. She turns to you, puts on a wide smile, and shakes your hand with a firm grip.
First a representative of Sophie Langley, now a representative of Hope. Not the way I'd develop my own career, but I gotta say not many neonates get around the way you do.
The fucking ha! Hope speaks up in your ear for the first time, seething with contempt. Although Cara couldn't possibly have heard her, she immediately goes to address her absence.
Can't say I expected her to actually arrive here with you or instead of you. On the other hand, I'm sure every single word I say will be instantly relayed to her.
Uh-huh.
And for the first time in forever, your empty blabbering will serve an actually useful cause.
So, let me make sure we cut out everyone but the middleman for a while, okay? She takes out her phone and taps the touchscreen. In a few seconds, the barely perceptible buzzing sound in your ear disappears completely. Okay. She has I forgot the name for it, but it disables the devices which are wireless. You can't hear Hope anymore. It's probable that she can't hear your voice right now either, which would mean she must be busy raging and cursing out everything on her side at the moment.
That's why you don't go wireless every time. God damn it, you could have just recorded on a tape or something.
Even that would have been better. This obviously wasn't something she expected to happen. Could it be what Kara saw through your plan? You have to play it cool and see what happens next.
Knowing Hope, you probably heard whatever scraps can be googled about me and a pile of insults for a good measure. Obviously I know everything there's to be known about you as well, Josephine. I don't believe we have a need for formal introductions, but first off, let me apologize for the discomfort my former employee has caused you. Okay. I wasn't remotely aware of his planned actions against Hope. I fully condemn them. I'm glad to see you unarmed and, of course, applaud your swift disposal of a psycho. Langley chose you well.
Brief silence.
So, let me cut to the chase here, present myself the best way I know how, through my ideas. Who do you think has a monopoly on reality?
Not much for small talk, is she? Who do you think has a monopoly on reality? I don't know. This is above my pay grade to talk about some things like this. It is so confusing, I actually reverted back to a Russian accent. She probably wants to hear this, but let's go with this. The state does?
That's a very typical answer, very 20th century sounding, but it leads straight to my point. She signals to someone behind you. For a while you've been watched by Kara's men, who circle around the staircases, presumably her ghouls. One of them sets off downstairs. You know, Bolivia just had a military coup. Hundreds of new accounts posting about nothing but Bolivian politics in English, set out to convince every random person online USA wasn't to blame. Sloppy work if you ask me. Now imagine this, a 17-year-old K-pop fan from Ohio doing an entire thread about how her relative in La Paz are actually glad the president is gone. A film reviewer with side interest in politics selling you a CIA-approved narrative about Evo Morales. An approachable fitness guy explaining the situation to you in simple terms, just like it is. Animated voice, expressive gestures and steady eye contact. She's taught herself how to project a good image, and I failed it. But isn't a natural yet. At times it feels as if she was screaming at you to trust her. It's not hard to emulate the masses. Reach out to one of those Eastern European troll farms, bang! A few hours later you have a clone army that will instantly voice their support for any cause. You will spread your message, but you won't foster a new culture that serves your goals, won't masquerade your messaging and independent thought. For that you need personalities, not the masses. But getting to emulate personalities? That's a whole different ballpark, not a craft but an art. You need to understand your fabrication so deeply you start to hate it, and then learn to love it. And if you want to make a bunch of those personalities to follow one agenda, you need a once-in-a-lifetime team to achieve that. A like-minded artistic collective, both ambitious and obedient. Even though you can't hear Hope's voice in your ear right now, you could swear you hear her on Kara's speech. It's the exact same tone she was using when monologuing in the car. One of them must have been a big influence on another, or perhaps they used to be in a position where they were both shaping each other's personas. Hard to say. Only one thing is for sure, and that is Hope must be absolutely furious right now. Is it possible Kara knew about her plot? Fingers crossed that she didn't. I am about 90% sure she did. The state is satisfied when an account that went unused for 5 years suddenly starts yelling imperialist propaganda into the void. The aging corporations are too set in their ways. But imagine a fresh startup would enable proliferation of ideas adjacent to the prince's plans for the future. Now imagine it getting into bed with the biggest corporations and agencies. So many lives that could be improved, or even saved from the raids of First Light. I have the infrastructure, I have the elders' support. All I need now is a mastermind at the center of it all. Hope? Yes, Hope. She looks down and takes in the scenery below for a while. Then she points at her t-shirt, one piece of clothing that's clashing with the rest of her outfit. Yeah, I always wanted to comment on that because this is really out of place. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna stop after this because my throat is dying. You know, I'm a huge fan of punk. But the idea of my company, Double Spiral, is to make everything I do a little bit punk. I'm all about clash ideas. I'm all about disruption. Why aren't you an anarch then? You wink a few times in quick succession. Oh, God, you think to yourself, she's that kind of person. You've seen a lot of them in your old life. You have a deluded executive who thinks they're on a mission from higher powers. Insufferable during meetings. Possibly did I don't know that word. And can't shut up about it, always desperate to come off as cool. You clicked yourself and escape from memory lane. Kara started talking about Hope, so you'd better listen. To me, Hope is as punk as it gets, a free spirit, fiercely independent, an eternal contrarian at odds with everything and everyone, developing her talents just because she finds it joyful. But God, does this girl need guidance. Not putting her talents to better use, rotting away, posting inane bullshit all the time. What a waste. I have built an environment specifically to develop her talents and to let her become indispensable to our society, but she rejects it because of some idiotic hang-ups. I don't expect you to change your mind about me just because I kept yapping and yapping. I just hope you'll keep my perspective in mind and serve as a voice of reason Hope really needs right now. Now that I had my say, how about I put our girl back on? She taps on her phone again. A silent buzz reappears in your right ear. Yeah, this is my answer through and through. There. Bluffing.
I know very little about this, I can't tell. I'm way out of my depth here. Hope. I'm here for Hope though. Hope, are you there? Kara smiles devilishly while Hope releases a demonic guttural growl through your headphones.
Yeah, sure. Let her know her hunch was right on the money. Why the hell not?
She's not happy with you, but the important part is she's with you. Huh. It was a hunch? I'm 90% sure she knew. 95. 99. Don't worry, she should have heard everything. I just wanted to spare you an annoying commentary track while I introduce myself. Excuse me for a second. One of Kara's guards approaches to show her something on his phone. Hope uses the distraction to get you up to speed with how the things are on her side.
Yeah, for a second there I was about to rage. What the heck has gotten the better of us, but hey, go figure. She just wanted to take a piece of my Cheerios. My plan worked. I've got a lot of data from her monologue and, some private sources, but the more we gather the better. The display here says more K letters could be useful. So, don't beat yourself up about it if you fail, but if you get her to repeat something with K in it, that might improve our deepfake voice.
I feel like you are not gonna succeed in whatever you're doing. Looks like Kara's done talking to the guard. Sorry about that. Looks like I've got a sudden meeting with a Google representative to attend shortly. Hope snorts.
Not bragging though.
By the way, does everyone but Hope know about this little rendezvous? Your patron, any other companion, or maybe the Nosferatu? Who asked? This is supposed to be someone's line. Who asked? I'm assuming Kara. Nobody knows. What's even... Yeah, it feels like there's an error here, like someone's line is missing. Like, who is asking this? Why did this suddenly come up? Let's go with Nosferatu. So what if it's not Nosferatu? Yeah, Kara is supposed to ask that. Kara's face takes on a hard impression. When she starts talking, she takes great pains not to say too much. Word of advice, kid. Kaiser's not in the business to be kind to strangers. Kaiser only got Kaiser's interests in mind, and nothing else. He might not let it show, but he's always in kill or be killed mindset. If you're doing business with him, keep that in mind at all times. Hope it lets out a quiet, triumphant howl.
Well, the screen tells me this should be okay letter we need. Good job.
Kara decides to change the subject. Anyway, no offense, but since Hope's not here, I really have to rush. Honestly, I feel a little insulted she set up this meeting and didn't even bother to show up. Insulted and suspicious her tone of voice betrays. She might have some good instincts. Too bad she didn't trust them here. Still, out of respect for Langley, I decided to have this talk with you, to explain to you why I'm an asset to Camarilla, and to explain why the elders need Hope by my side.
What the worm-brained hag here forgot to mention is what elders don't give a shit about me.
Even if you don't see it my way now, I believe I've sown some seeds out here that might sprout in the near future. Double Spiral looks out for Hope, for people who look out for it is all I'm saying. But before I leave, you know, there's one thing I really wish I knew. Back when I knew her, she was a different person, or different people, depending on how you look at it. Why does she fight against me so much? What's her motivation to resist so much? What's her motivation? Good question. She's never shared it with you.
Answer whatever you want, but A, better lie through your teeth. Get her to say V a few times if you can. It might improve your shortcomings of our deepfake software.
What's your answer? Yep. Love, I think. Kara blinks, opens her mouth, then shuts it, and she scoffs. Nonsense. Of course it was, but she sounds like she was trying to convince herself. Something about your answer resonated with her. One of Kara's people erupts with theatrical cough. Kara gestures him to calm down. I really need to rush now. See you around, Josephine. She begins to walk down the stairs, surrounded by her guards. Once she is gone from before your eyes, Hope decides to summarize your mission.
For the love of Christ, wish you could have kept her droning on for a little longer. Turns out the T letter could use some improvements as well. Not complaining though, you did good. And don't worry, the data I have should be more than enough to generate a convincing deepfake. I just need to put in some more work. So I guess I will get to that right now. Enjoy the rest of your night. Drop my hardware in your haven when you get the chance. I'll let you know when we're ready to hit Kara's base of operation. Pray for my success, sweetie, and I might be done soon, maybe even tomorrow. And once we're done with her, we'll talk about how I can repay your generosity. Amen. The connection drops. It looks like that's all for now. You gaze at the sea of lights around you for the last time and then start making your way back to the street level.